All right, NBA Nation, let's get into it. My playoff prediction for the 18. I did a playoff prediction earlier this year who I thought the 18 from the East and 18 from the West would be. That would get into this year's NBA playoffs. This is my prediction review of that. Obviously, I always do the East first because I'm a Lakers fan. They're in the West, so let's get into this. Did very well, better than I thought. Did kind of similar I did similar to what I did in my Angel Hockeys. I went 6-2 in the East for my playoff predictions, and 5-3 in the West for my playoff predictions, bringing my total to 11-5 bringing my total overall record to 11-5 between the East and West for my playoff predictions. So let's get into that. Obviously, Obviously, 5-3. Of the three teams I had wrong, you go back and watch my video. In the East, I had the Pacers. I had the Pacers, Celtics, Cavs, Knicks, Bucks. And then I had the Pistons, the Magic, and the Hawks. Obviously, for that prediction, I got the Pacers and Bucks wrong. The two teams that got in over the Pacers and Bucks were the Sixers and the Toronto Raptors. So yeah, the two teams that got in over the Pacers and Bucks were the Toronto Raptors. The two teams that got in over the Pacers and Bucks in the East were the Toronto Raptors. And the two teams that got in the East over the Pacers and Bucks were the Toronto Raptors and the Philadelphia 76ers. Now let's move on to the West. In the West, I had it as the Thunders. In the West, I had it as the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Warriors. Then I had the T-Wolves, the Suns, the Clippers, and the Mavs. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks, the Los Angeles Clippers, and the Golden State. Obviously the Golden State Warriors, the LA Clippers, and the Dallas Mavericks did not make the playoffs for the West this year for the NBA playoffs. So the three teams that got in that I didn't have in the three teams that got in the West that I didn't have in were the Portland Trailblazers, the San Antonio, the three teams in the West that I didn't have in that made it over the three teams I had making it were the Spurs, Rockets, and Trailblazers. So yeah, there you go. To recap, I went 6-2 in the East for my playoff predictions, 5-3 in the West, 5-3 in the West for my playoff predictions, for a total overall record between the East and West of 11-5 for a total. So I went 6-2 in the East for my playoff predictions, 5-3 in the West for my playoff predictions for this year's NBA playoffs, for a total overall record of 11-5 out of the 16 total teams that make it in between the East and West. So once again, 6-2 in the East for the NBA playoff predictions, 5-3 in the West for my NBA playoff predictions, for a total overall record of 11-5 between the East and West. So not so bad. Exactly what I did. Exact same record for my hockey playoff predictions. But yeah, there you have it. To recap, yeah, there you go. Enjoy the playoffs. I'll be back in a little bit with an actual playoff prediction. But yeah, ready for some NBA playoffs.